keep striving for this religion that we preach. Keep pushing for nothing's ever out of reach. Because the time we keep on driving, it's all that much we go. The time we keep on fighting, and these colors I wear will be sold through the skins of my soul.
And welcome to another, Happy New Year, and welcome to another edition of the Luton Town International Podcast, which I'm so thrilled to be recording this after 3 defeats in a row. Why are we doing this?
We're contractually obliged, I think is the word you use, isn't it?
It is. Where's the bloody contract? I want to check.
Yeah, I don't think any of us want to be here right now. It hasn't been great, has it?
No, I mean, it's to be fair, obviously there's 4 games there. Derby won. It was sort of, snatched a victory from the jaws defeat. Derby probably deserved something there. The game on Boxing Day, didn't see at all. Can't comment on it. The Swansea game, my stream is terrible, so it's so was the football by the sounds of it. Yesterday, I thought we played better. We did deserve something from the game, but don't take the chances, and then you back off. That's what happens. And then I had to go to work tomorrow with my Norwich fan boss.
How was that?
He's fine. He didn't rub it in much.
I mean, they're not doing great either, right? That was their first away win.
Oh yeah, their away form's almost as bad as ours. So it was, that's what I thought. That's possible. We can get something from there, but so I'm going to try and find the positives from yesterday.
Okay, and I'll do the sane thing and point out all the negatives, which could take us a while.
Okay. Right. Well, positives. Zach Nelson, I thought looked good.
Yeah.
It's his delivery was good. He looked great. He looked brave. He got the ball. Marvelous when he came on. He actually looked more like the Marvelous we knew. And then Walters sort of seems to slot back in as a right back there. Chong got forward well, but I still don't think he's not a defender. He's not a wing back. He's played further up the pitch. The Woodwork was probably their best defender. That's about it for positives.
First half was dire, second half was better. Probably could have got something from the game, especially with Woodrow's chance right at the end. There was just it. To me, it was a team that was clutching at straws. They've run out of ideas. And it's basically, you look at the 4 changes, it's basically just hit and hope. And it didn't
They were about 5 minutes too late as well.
Yeah. I mean, first off, bringing on 4 substitutes at once. Okay, I get it. You're going for the game, fair play. But as you said, 5 minutes too late for probably 2 of them, and probably about 10, 15 minutes too late for another 2. He hasn't made subs at the right times this season. And again, that was another thing that happened again yesterday. And here's the thing. You can't be dropping points against a team who is in just as bad form away from home as you are away from home, and Norwich at home. Like, our away form has been absolutely horrendous. We cannot start to drop points at home, or this will very quickly become a relegation battle.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people will say it's already a relegation battle. Look, we have enough quality there that there is 4, 5, 6 teams worse than us on paper, worse than us. I'm not worried about being relegated. But if our home form goes out, then it does start to become a worry.
And that's the thing that's got to change. So, which then comes to, obviously, there was not a huge amount of scenes, but there were some definite yells towards the director's box yesterday. There were some boos. It wasn't the entire ground by any sort of stretch of the imagination, because I think the performance was generally okay, but I think it's just basically on the back of the other 2 defeats and sort of, the away run and everything else. And then obviously at home, there's more fans who can sort of vent their opinions, as it were. So that's the problem you've got. Obviously, Rob Edwards is under pressure, and the BBC or the local BBC just ran something saying he's under pressure as well. Kevin Harper, he was on the news of saying, I think most fans do want to see him turn around and succeed, but it's a bit mixed if they can or not. However, this is the problem. We're coming to January. If you change the manager now in a transfer window, we were looking to get some players in, which presumably means some players would need to move out or some not be registered. So a new manager coming in would have to actually assess what he's got and either basically go with what the transfer plan was, and he might actually want to keep some of the players or might not want to sign some of the others, or spend a couple of weeks assessing, in which case you might miss out on half your targets you've got, and then it's too late by then as well. So we're stuck.
He gets until the end of the season. And I've said this to you off camera. I've got my reasons for him getting to the end of the season. He gets to the end of the season. You back him in January, and you let him do what he needs to do, and then you reassess everything then come summertime. My reasoning behind this, and I will say it on air, is the board bottled it. He should have been gone after the Middlesbrough debacle. We had an international break after that. It obviously, clearly was not going right. It was clear as day to anyone watching those games, it was not going right. You make the change then. You bring in a new manager. You give him 2 weeks with the team. By this point in January, he pretty much knows who he wants to get rid of and who he wants to bring in. The board bottled it. And now, to me, the board have to live with it until at least the summer.
I think I wouldn't quite say bottled it. I thought they've tried to back the plan, which is becoming more and more difficult.
I
will not call for a manager's head unless he completely disrespects the club. I will never call for a manager's head.
I won't say he should have been sacked. He should have been gone. I'm not saying I would have been actively saying you need to sack him, but I would have been saying to the board, you need to do the right thing here. And the right thing would have been to let him go and get someone else in. And I think the board know that. And I think for whatever reason, whether it was distractions or whatever else, they didn't. It could be the simple factors, we're going to back our manager. Okay, you're going to back your manager into a situation now where if home form doesn't keep up, you are in a relegation fight. You are in a dogfight at the wrong end of the table. And I came on here at the beginning of the season and said I didn't expect Luton to get promoted back to the Premier League. There was a lot of places out there that were saying we could win the league, we could get automatic promotion, we'll definitely be in the playoffs. I always felt it'd be a struggle this season. I always felt mid-table would have been our aim, and it can still be our aim. But for that to be our aim now, the form has to change, and it has to change quick.
Yeah, I mean, start QPR obviously on sort of a Monday night. We don't tend to do traditionally very well there anyway, and our away form, it's not confident. On the other hand, we will have Fanny will be available, so people get to see Fanny for the first time.
For a lot of Luton fans, it probably is the first time they see Fanny.
Well, I mean, if there's obviously we've signed Christ as well. I have a suspicion he'll be loaned straight back out or be loaned out at the end of January. Just, I think, from what Rob Edwards said a couple of weeks ago when we signed him. But if not, I want to hear Simon Pitts on the commentary. You can imagine his flow past moves. So, Christ, marvellous, Fanny.
You know, Stato wouldn't say that. He's too serious for that.
Yeah.
We can only dream, but he's far too serious for that. But yeah, I mean, I get bringing a player in, but okay. So here's the thing: who would you rather loan out? This guy who's been playing first team football, albeit in a Belgian league, or Joe Johnson, who's got the third least amount of minutes in the team this season? Who would you rather loan out? Who would you rather be playing in the first team?
Well, I've got no idea sort of, how ready this Christ goes. I mean, I said he has been playing, but he's kind of in this sort of was it Belgian second division or
he's in the Belgian first division, I think. I want to say he came from the French second division to the Belgian top tier.
I don't think he's in the top tier.
It's not a huge jump. It's probably a step back if anything. But to me, I'd prefer the player who's been playing first team minutes consistently, but I can see the argument for Johnson in that he's been in and around the squad, so therefore he knows formation, tactics, and yada yada yada.
I mean, I would say it's if either of them which can play in the first team, which they can, they should be loaned out.
If they can't play in the first team?
I said if they can play in the first team, or so if they're up to play in the first team, they shouldn't be loaned out.
See, so it comes back to the Johnson thing again, right? I don't necessarily think he should be near the first team, and I don't think he would be if we had a fit squad. I think if we had a fit squad going into the season and no injury problems, and obviously that's, in an ideal world, I don't think Joe Johnson would be anywhere near that team. He'd probably be getting on the bench because, as you said, you need so many homegrown talents, yada, yada, yada. But I really don't think he'd be getting... He'd probably have... He has low minutes as it is this season. I think he'd have even less.
He'd have had slightly minutes
if any at all. Yeah. So, for me, you loan him out. Now, is he around the first team squad? Yeah. But to me, Johnson has to go out alone. He has to go out alone. And that's another reason.
I think Rob Edwards said he'd look at that potentially with him and Nelson, but I think the temptation is to keep him around, because I said if you loan them out and then we have sort of the way we've had injury rise as well, which is the other disclaimer, I think it's then suicide to loan out people who could play there, and then sort of. I mean, to be honest, Joe Johnson should have been playing so at left wing back, not Chong. Chong, going forward, it's fine, but he is not a defender.
So then it comes back to management decisions, right? And again, it comes back to, okay, if he's making poor decisions like we're talking about here, or what we think are poor decisions, should he really still be in a job? If you were making poor decision after poor decision after poor decision in your job, would you still be there?
I would say no.
Exactly.
I also don't have a 4-year contract.
That's very true, too.
I don't think many people do this.
Here's the thing. I sent you a message yesterday saying it's all Nathan Jones's fault. And I'm going to explain to you why I think it's all Nathan Jones's fault. So last season in the Premier League, we held our own. We didn't win a lot, but we held our own, and we put in some decent performances that got the plaudits of a lot of people, and got Rob Edwards the plaudits of a lot of people. Obviously, at the end of the season, we were relegated. We lost 2 very crucial players in Barkley, who was sold, and Sambi Lakonga, who was obviously his loan had finished. But Rod Edwards was still very, very highly thought of, and was being linked with quite a few moves away from the club. I know one in particular to Ipswich, should McKenna leave Ipswich and go elsewhere. The board then signed Edwards to a 4-year contract. Here's the reason I think they did that. One, at that point, obviously they thought he was the guy to bring them forward. 4-year contract seems a bit extreme. I probably would have given him 1 or 2, considering how long managers last. Because his contract wasn't up, as far as I'm aware, it wasn't up. He was just a new restructured contract.
I think it's a new one. I think he probably had a couple of years left in it anyway. So
exactly.
So
it was a new contract. And I'm sure that clause probably had a contract in there somewhere saying, hey, if you leave us for another club, this is what we get paid. And I think that was a major part of it. A major, major part of it. The club, the board had seen what happened with Nathan Jones twice in the past, were worried that they would be backed into a corner and not get what they believe was full value for their manager.
To be fair, Nathan Jones, the second time round, he actually got us a couple of million from that.
And I think that had a lot to play with Edwards signing the new contract. I think if Edwards hadn't been linked, if we'd have gone down, like a lot of people thought we would have gone down, with lowest points ever in the history of Premier League, Edwards wouldn't be linked to any jobs. He wouldn't have been. Yeah. He just wouldn't have been. Therefore, there would have been no need for him to sign a new contract, because he still had a contract going through this season and I think possibly next season. There would have been no need for him to sign a new contract. There was no real need for him to sign a 4-year contract anyway. The only reason behind it was the board had to be worried. They were showing loyalty to Edwards, yes, for getting us into the Premier League and having a decent go with it. But if the board say it's not, they're lying, they're blatantly lying. They obviously changed that contract so that they would get maximum payout should he leave and go to a Premier League team.
There is also a side effect on this one as well. He said he would sign it when he was trying to get players, sort of, some of which would have had heads turned by the Premier League. He's trying to get them to stay and be loyal, and out he signed a new long-term contract as well, off the back of it. So it's a case of, right, I can't be telling my lads to, sign these long contracts if I'm not willing to do the same.
No, if you're Edwards, you signed a contract because, 1, I would assure you get a pay bump. And 2, like, if everything goes according to plan for you this season, which it hasn't, You're not worried about the release clause for you getting released. That's the other team's problem. If they want you that badly, they'll pay it, you know? But you're getting more stability. Yeah, if you're Edwards, you sign the contract. I'm saying it's a poor move on the board side because the board are the ones that rushed into that based off a decent half a season in the championship that got us promoted, and then a decent season in the Premier League where we didn't absolutely embarrass ourselves. They went based off that. They had a contract. They didn't have to give him a new contract. They just decided we're going to do this. There had to be stuff in it for them. I'm sure one of the things was, if you leave us for another Premier League side, this is the amount of money compensation that we're going to get. And that's what the board were looking at. And that's why I think it was the Nathan Jones effect. They didn't want to lose another manager and feel like they didn't get what they deserved for that manager. Now, with the second go around, as you said, Nathan Jones got us a decent payday. The board are obviously looking at it and going, we want to do that again. We want that to happen again. And with Edwards' hype being pushed up because everyone was talking about how great of a season we are, how good of a season we had in the Premier League, how we really tried and really gave these teams, really gave it a go. The board are basically thinking, well, we can make a nice little pretty penny out of this should he leave. And if we start the season well, chances are he probably will leave and go to a team that's struggling in the Premier League that has sacked their manager. So let's get our work out of it. And there was no need for the board to do it because he still had 2 years on his contract.
Yeah, nobody objected at the time. Obviously, we're now in a situation where it's kind of there is discontent sort of growing. It's
hurting. It's hurting now because you have to pay him up for 4 years. And I seen a comment afterwards, which a lot of people are seem to cling on to in social media. It was like, I got a family to think about, was what he said. Yeah, damn right. I've nothing there. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, football is a job. If you're not doing your job and thinking about your paycheck and how that's best for you and your family, what are you doing? Like, it's a job. At the end of the day, it's a job, and you should be doing what's best for you and what's best for your family.
And if you got a job, you got the contract there. It said if he quit and went to somebody else, the club would be demanding compensation. So
exactly. So you should be Rob. This is, as I said, I think the board should have done the right thing and got rid of him after Borough. I believe now he gets to the end of the season. He deserves until the end of the season because the board have messed this up. And if I'm Rob Edwards, I'm not walking away from that paycheck. I like there was rumors online that he handed in his resignation, and again, they're only rumors. Who knows if they're true? But that he handed in his resignation and that the board rejected it. Even more reason that the board have got this extremely, extremely wrong and deserve whatever they get between now and the end of the season. You know, because if you hand in your resignation, the compensation is not going to be as big as it would have been if you are now to fire him. And the other thing is, our home form, as you said earlier, has been decent. You know, not great, but decent. Derby, I talked to you after the Derby game, and I told you, like, relief. It was relief. It wasn't pride. It wasn't like delirium at 2 late goals. It was relief. That was the feeling I was feeling, was relief. You know, but at the end of the day, it's a win. You know, you're not going to get people turning around to the board after away games because it's just not going to be that many fans there shouting at the board. If our home form dips, the board are going to see that a lot more, and then we're going to see how the board react to it. Because I even asked you yesterday, like, when was the last time you can remember this happening, of fans turning around to the board and berating the board of get this guy gone? Like, we couldn't remember a time with 2020.
Actually, I have remembered one now.
Okay,
Mick Harford.
Yeah, and that guy's a living legend at Luton, right?
Yeah, and Gary Sweet said he was absolutely kind of he's basically sort of, he thought he didn't have a choice here because it had turned so toxic, but he hated doing it. But I mean, I suppose it's kind of he thought it had to be done. And also, the pressure from the fans was onto that one. So I do wonder if that's partly playing into it as well. Thinking, right, I made a mistake back then. I'm not doing the same thing now. Not the first signs of grumbling.
And it'll be interesting because obviously the crowd have been very vocal for a large part of the season that he needs to go. But this
the crowd haven't. Social media is different.
Social media, and they are fans. So okay, so fans have been pretty pretty straightforward about what certain fans have been pretty fair. A percentage of our fan base want them gone.
Social media podcast. That's a bit different. Sometimes people just shouting to get their voices made and everything else. Not us, because nobody listens to us anyway. So.
No one listens. But there is a percentage of our fan base that want them gone, and it's growing by the day. It'll be interesting to see now. Like they've been pretty vocal for a good part of the season now. It'll be interesting to see as soon as the fans now have turned on the board and start giving abuse towards the board, whether the board are strong enough to deal with it and go, okay, no, this is our guide till the summer. No matter what happens, this is our guide till the summer.
Well, I hope you turns it around so you're not getting that at the ground, because social media doesn't matter.
Social media is an outlier for fans to give their opinions. So I don't think it's saying that it doesn't matter. It does matter. It's just not like it's always going to be louder on social media than it will be in the ground, because there are certain people who will go to the ground and they won't cheer and they won't boo at the end. They won't give anything to the board, but they will come out on social media after games and give their honest opinions. You know, like you're very vocal and you're very open about the fact is, you know, after poor performances, you won't cheer, you won't boo, you'll just leave.
Yeah,
you know, and there will be people like that who will then go on social media and give their opinions on the game, what's going on, the state of the club. And like social media is there for that reason. It's there for fans to give their opinion, you know.
But I think some opinions there are people who want to see who can shout loudest and get the most reactions.
Yeah, of course. That's part of social media. It's, you know, I can shout louder than you. You know, like I think he's there till the summer. I believe he should be there till the summer.
Yeah, I mean, your reasons are to try and punish the board. Mine are because I'd like to see him turn around.
I would be ecstatic if he turned around. I don't think he will, but I would be ecstatic.
That's classic, to spite your face.
I think they need a rude awakening though, because I think okay, so we had those years in the conference, but since the promotion from the conference, everything's been a little bit too easy for them, right? You know, we had a decent season in League Two, then we brought in Nathan Jones, and we got promoted, then we got promoted again, then we brought in Graham Jones, and it was bad, but we weren't expected to do much. Then we brought Nathan Jones back. We survived relegation. Then we're in playoff pictures. Then Rob Edwards comes in, gets promoted to the Premier League, something that we never thought would happen. Like the last chunk of years have been very, very nice to them, and they can't say it hasn't, because it has.
Do you not?
Now it's a cycle. Do I not think the board have something?
I think that they may have had a little bit to do with it.
No, of course you do, but you've got to prepare yourself down for the bad times. You've got to put some, you know, what's the old saying? Put something away for a rainy day, because the rainy day is going to come. And
I think that's ridiculous. I mean, I think this is the first time they're going to see real pressure. This is the first time they're going to see real pressure, and I want to see how they react to it. I want to see how they deal with it. Because at the end of the day, if we get relegated this season, there's going to be a lot of angry fans. And it won't be just the people who are screaming. It won't be just the people who are screaming loudest on social media. There will be a lot of angry fans should we get relegated this season. And I personally don't think we will. As I said, I think there's worse teams in the league than us. You actually sound like you're wanting the board to be put under pressure.
I want to see how they react.
Why?
Because this is the only way you're going to know whether you have a really, truly good board.
Well, rather than a board that's taken us up from the conference to
the Premier League. Yes, it's all been great. It's all been great. Wrexham are doing the exact same thing.
Got the planning permission, got the money in place there, done more to actually progress the club than any other sub-ground there. So
I'm not saying they haven't done good things. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I want to see how they react to difficult times. That's what I want to see. I want to see how they react to difficult times. And right now, they're bottling it. Whether you like I love 2020. They saved our club. I always hold them in high regard for that. They've done some magnificent things. They've got a new ground. The board, when we got promoted to the Premier League, they made some great choices in regards to managers. You know, but at some point, things are going to go a little bit wrong, and you've got to deal with it when it goes a little bit wrong. Right now, it's going wrong, and they're bottling it. They're not doing what they should be doing as a board. Therefore, yes, repercussions, they have to live with it.
It's not a viewpoint.
And I'm not saying I want them out. I'm not saying I want them out. I don't.
No, I was about to say, because otherwise, what do you want? Some foreign businessman there? I mean, I saw people sort of like someone suggested Elon Musk went to a football club. People goes, please come and take over this club, not Luton. I'm thinking, why would you want him anywhere near your club?
He'd just buy and give it to that gobshite anyway, so it's all the same. I don't want them gone. I just want them to react properly to the situation. I think there's too many rose-tinted glasses in the board right now. And they're coming out with their match programs and talking about atmospheres and toxic atmospheres. And, you know, what do you expect when you're doing this poorly? Do you expect, like, last season, we didn't win too many games in the Premier League. And every single time, no matter what the result, the fans got behind the team and clapped them off the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the Championship now, a league where we should be doing okay in. We spent that money last season building a team that was Championship ready, as every podcast, including ourselves, talked about. And now Championship ready means we're down near the arsehole of the league. You know, what do they expect the fans to still sit there and clap them off after poor performance after poor performance after poor performance?
No, nothing. I think obviously they are worried about it, and obviously the fans are as well. So you can see that, because I said when you're 3 points apparently above the relegation zone, I've not actually looked at the table, because I think, why the hell would I do myself? That's to myself. But yeah,
it's bad. It's really, really bad, and they're not dealing with it well right now. And
I mean, as I said, I think you're right. I think Rob Edwards is there for the season, with the caveat: if we get through the January transfer window, even through January, and there's about a run of 5 defeats in a row, and then we're entrenched in the relegation zone, they'll be forced to make a change, which would be too late by then if it comes down to that.
So you look at our next 5 league games. QPR away. We both talked about we don't do well there, and our away form isn't good. Preston at home, fingers crossed, you'd hope, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oxford away, who've just changed their manager. Now, if we're gonna break this bad run we're on away from home, that needs to be the game, right?
Yeah. Well, Monday would be a good one to start, but it's
Millwall at home and Sheffield Wednesday away. That's the five league games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 league games, and obviously we have Forest in the Cup in between there. Realistically, how many points do you think we're taking from those 5 games? 15 points on offer.
7.
See, because I don't think we beat Sheffield Wednesday.
No.
We probably get a draw at Millwall.
Well, we're home to Millwall, so I think we possibly potentially win that.
So if you take away that we don't win any of our away games, which has been our form lately, you're looking at a maximum of 6 points between Preston and Millwall.
Well, that's if you, when you say don't win, that's if we lose all of them. If you can get a point away, that's which is.
So are you taking a point away to Oxford?
Right now, I'll take a point away to Dog and Duck right now.
But it's still not a win. You still haven't broken the bad run we're on. Of what was it?
You have
at the moment. You've broken the 8, 9 straight losses, but you still haven't won away from home in God knows how many games.
Mm-hmm.
It's not great. This has been a hard season, Nick.
Yeah, I was thinking, right, are we really doing this?
Hence why these podcasts have been very sporadic.
Right. Anyway, I think that done. I want to go and watch the Traces because it's damn sight more entertaining than football.
Anything's more exciting than fucking watching Luton play right now.
Yeah.
Which, just before I go, I just want to say, watching the Swansea game, and as I told you, no commentary. There was no commentary. It was just the pictures. I was watching it, and Jesus Christ, was that poor watching. That was really, really bad watching. Like, Swansea aren't great. Swansea are not a good team at all.
They got stuffed by 4 from bloody Portsmouth, didn't they?
Probably. Yeah, I can't say off the top of my head. Yeah, I would say you know more about that stuff than me, so I'm going to agree with you and say yeah. But I mean, Jesus Christ, it was so bad. We created nothing. There was no creativity whatsoever in the team.
There was a lot of creativity from their goalkeeper, though.
I was just going to say, their goalkeeper was our best midfielder. That pass to Morris was fucking inch perfect. We should sign him and start playing him in midfield. Go watch your show. You need some enjoyment. You deserve it.
Right, I will speak to you after the next win. So, March.
See you in 2026.
Quite possibly.